Hey man, it's your boy J Man back again with a brand new video on the channel. I know my face look like a goddamn glazed donut. I just got done showering, so mind your goddamn business. But hey man, you see what we talk about? We talk about the great games that we saw. Well, great game that we saw yesterday. First I'm gonna start off with the Celtics. The Celtics in that Bucks series is gonna be a very interesting series. I was gonna do a series breakdown, but I feel like it's too late to do a series breakdown now at this point. I will say I do have the Bucks winning around 6 or 7 games in an ideal situation, but after watching last game, I'm not gonna overreact to anything. Boston got blown out game 1, game 2. Boston returns the favor, so everything on that terms, I'm not really too surprised about. I mean, Boston is the better team. I just feel like the Bucks, since the Bucks have Giannis, that holds weight a little bit. So, in order to win this series, though, I mean, in order for the Bucks to win that series, you have to set I say you take the Phil Jackson approach. You lock down everybody else, and you let the stars do. Let them shoot. Let them shoot every shot. If I'm Milwaukee, I'm trying to get them to go back to the basketball that had them under 500, if that makes sense. But with the new culture and the new offense that they had, and also Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown sacrificing this year, it's going to be very hard to try and force them to go back to that. But that's, I mean, at this point, that's what you kind of have to do to try and win that series, because ideally, talent-wise, you lost Chris Middleton. That's not really gonna, that hurts a lot for Milwaukee. Jrue Holiday has to play better. I mean, he had 18 last night, so I'm not gonna get on this case too bad. But in order for the series to win, in order for Milwaukee to win this series, Jrue Holiday has to be a legit second option and still play the high-level defense that we know and love him to play. And also, if they're going to be selling out to stopping Giannis and have Giannis shoot 9 for 25 like in Game 1, and I believe yesterday he started the first half 1 for 10, like in situations like that, somebody else has to be willing to step up. Either Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, Grayson Allen. Somebody has to step up, and the problem is I don't know if Milwaukee has the personnel for someone else to step up. I just feel like Milwaukee was banking on Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday staying healthy the whole time. I feel like they got better defensively, but they didn't get better scoring wise. Like, they only have 3 real scorers on that team, and arguably Jrue Holiday isn't really a scorer. He's a scorer, but he's not like, you know, he's not a scorer. Like, that's not what he does. He's a defender first. So he's a defender and a point guard first. You know, this is the same guy who averaged 10 assists in Philadelphia before. So this is somebody who's a point guard who defends. He's not somebody who's gonna go out and look to score the ball to win a game. That's just not his game. And I mean, in terms for Boston, I mean, Boston doing exactly what they need to do. They're going to get Marcus Smart back, because Marcus Smart's not going to miss the series for nothing. Even with a shoulder stinger and a quad contusion, that's not going to really stop him from playing the series. Jaylen Brown's going to have to play at a high level consistently, where arguably he looks like the best player in this series, where he looks like the best player on the Celtics. But I don't think Jaylen Brown can keep up that play. So that's why I have Milwaukee winning this series in 6 or 7 games, just off of, I look at Tatum like Tatum's here and Jaylen Brown's like right here in terms of just their skill level. I need, in order for them to win this series in like dominant fashion where they win in 5 games or even just win the series in general, Brown got to be right here or arguably here. They have to be playing at almost the same level, or Jaylen Brown's playing just a smidge under it. So Game 1, he didn't have a good game. He came back Game 2 and had 20 in the first half, so he did what he needed to do on that end. But it's just going to be interesting to see how they adjust to it in terms of Milwaukee, because Milwaukee has to find something else. Milwaukee has to find something in order to win this series. Boston really is a good matchup for Milwaukee, because Milwaukee has size and Boston has size as well. So I want to see how Budenholzer can put Giannis, Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez and Jrue Holiday and company in a situation where they can all score at an efficient clip. Giannis, I'm not really looking at Giannis anyway, because the defense is sold out to stop Giannis, and they're gonna pack the paint against Giannis. That's really the goal of it. Last game they guarded him a lot of one-on-one, so I look for Giannis in Game 3 to take advantage of that and stop shooting jump shots. Giannis, please stop shooting jump shots and go to the paint, please. I saw him shoot, I believe he started the game. Game 2, he shot like a fall away mid-range, hit airballed it on the other side of the rim. And once I saw that, I'm like, yeah, you're just, I'm not gonna say, yeah, you lost already, because it's like the first 4 minutes of the game. But Giannis shouldn't be shooting no fadeaway from 15 to 20 feet. That's just not his game. He's never been that type of player. He needs to be 5 to 10 feet away from the rim. and he needs to work around there, but it's going to be very hard when Boston's defense is going to sell out to stop him, because they know other than Jrue Holiday, can't nobody on that Milwaukee team really step up and beat them. So, yeah, I mean, Boston has the leverage in terms of team-wise. I'm still gonna stick to my guns. I'm still gonna say the Bucks are gonna somehow find a way to win this series. But if they somehow find a way to win this series and they have to go against a Miami, I don't know how much this is gonna take out that Milwaukee team. They don't play until Saturday though, this Saturday. So hopefully that gives time for Middleton to kind of quicken up his recovery curve. So hopefully he can come back this series. Because, I mean, quite frankly, they're going to need him. And, yeah. Next, let's talk about probably the most entertaining series of this whole playoff so far, besides Minnesota and Memphis. Memphis and Golden State. This is arguably the most entertaining series and might be, in my opinion, whoever wins this series is my favorite for winning the championship. I just feel like with Golden State, how Golden State is constructed and just their confidence level, I don't really see another team in the West that can really shake that up. The way they're running, Phoenix doesn't have enough to stop Jordan Poole, Clay, and Steph. Then you got Memphis on the other hand. Memphis plays their brand of basketball no matter what. If you ask me, I don't know who's going to win this series. I genuinely don't know. My bias would say Memphis because I just like Memphis a little bit more. But I'm not going to discredit what Golden State's been doing the past 8 years. So I just can't discredit what they've been doing. But, you know, you had a hard foul yesterday. Dylan Brooks got ejected. Gary Payton fell victim of the hard foul. He ended up fracturing his elbow. So, you know, they lost probably their best defender to guard job because Gary Payton has the foot speed and he has the vertical to kind of help contain Ja. So losing him is going to be major for this series because now you have to experiment by putting Clay and Wiggins on him. And I feel like it's a tough ask to ask Clay, who came out of not playing for 941 days, I believe, to guard a 22-year-old Ja Morant who's jumping out of the gym consistently. I feel like that's kind of unfair to ask him that. Of course, Jordan Poole is going to be able to take that leap in terms of being that defender who's going to take that challenge on him. Neither Steph. You can't ask Draymond to do it because Draymond has to guard the big man in Memphis. So I feel like them losing Gabe Payton is a very major loss for them. You know, he was starting to get getting his groove. He has some offensive skills to him, so that would have helped him offensively for Golden State. And then majorly defensively, I mean, he's Gabe Payton's son, so of course he's gonna be able to play defense at a high level. But with him being out and fracturing the elbow and him having no timetable on a return, which even if he did have a timetable, I know he's not gonna be able to return for this series in particular. It sucks. It sucks. I'm not gonna lie, it sucks. But you know, injuries happen. This is the NBA playoffs. If we live saying what ifs, there's many of what ifs that we could have played out that would have possibly had the history of the NBA playoffs go differently, but it is what it is. In terms of Memphis, I like what I saw from Memphis yesterday. I do wish that they would stop shooting as many threes. I just feel like watching them play in Minnesota, they weren't really shooting as many threes as they were shooting now. But of course you have to, because Golden State's going to dare you to shoot. But there's ways they can work around it, bro. Like, you can take 4 steps in and take a mid-range. There's no problem with that. There's no problem with stepping 4 steps in and shooting a pull-up mid-range. Like, that's not a bad thing. Ja Morant looks comfortable. Ja Morant looks very comfortable against Golden State because it's 2 games back-to-back where he shot efficiently. He's been shooting the 3-ball efficiently. He hasn't really been turning the ball over at a high clip. He's been stuffing that fucking stat sheet like a motherfucker. He's comfortable. And, you know, I've said numerous times that Ja Morant has Golden State's number. You can really tell that in terms of how they guard him. They're guarding him a certain way, and Ja Morant doesn't really mind being guarded that way. So they're trying to force him to shoot, and Ja Morant isn't somebody who's afraid to shoot the ball. He shot 4 for 10 from 3 yesterday. Actually, I think he shot 5 of 11 or 5 of 12 from 3. Either way, that's outstanding. If he keeps making shots like that, it's going to be very hard for Golden State to contain him. My only hope is that he doesn't run out of those makes. I hope he didn't shoot every bullet in the gun too early. So, you know, like I said, in an ideal situation, I don't have a clear-cut winner. I know for a fact this series is going to go 6 to 7 games just off of, you know, it's 2 great teams And either they're up or they're down. They're going to play the same brand of basketball. They're not going to separate as a team. There's not going to be any conflict. Point blank period. Like, this is the best series in the playoffs so far, and arguably the whole playoffs that I think we will have. And you know, I once again, you know, Jaren Jackson Jr. fouled out yesterday, and you know, but Memphis needs him to play in order for them to win this series. They cannot get away with him fouling out. And I know he played around 28 minutes yesterday, but ideally Jaren Jackson Jr. should be playing 37 to 36 minutes, not 28. That's 8 minutes of the floor where you don't have your best paint defender and your best rim protector on the floor. So, but luckily Brandon Clark is stepping up. He's doing his job at a great level. You know, he's doing a great job on Draymond as well. You know, but they need Jaren Jackson Jr. to play. Desmond Bane, it's gonna be. I would love to ask Desmond Bane to perform to match the production that he had in that Minnesota series, but that's a very tough ask for him, especially since he has that back injury he's dealing with. So hopefully he can be reliable, but Golden State is being very adamant on making sure he isn't the guy shooting, rightfully so, because he's the best shooter on that team. Dylan Brooks, of course, he got ejected last game, so, you know, it's a hard foul. I mean, do I think it was a dirty play? No, it's playoff basketball, nothing easy, especially in the paint. The number one rule is nothing in the paint in the playoffs, let alone in any basketball game. You always say nothing in the paint, nothing easy in the paint, so it is what it is. You try to stop someone from getting a layup, I can't fault it. But I need Dylan Brooks to play better as well. Game one, he didn't have the best showing. Also, for him, he needs to calm down on the fouls as well. But it's kind of hard to ask Brooks and Jaren Jackson Jr. to stop getting in foul trouble because their game is predicated on being physical, and you know, you can't have a player want to be physical but not picking up fouls as well. That goes hand in hand. So more physicality, more fouls. Less fouls, less physicality. So it's kind of like you have to pick your poison. But like I said, in order to get 6 fouls called to you, you're making some form of bad decisions in terms of fouling. Like, your point blank period fouling at that point, because a ref wouldn't call you 6 times on a foul if you weren't legit fouling. They can't make 6 bad calls on one player. It's just not possible. But either way, great game yesterday. It wasn't such a great game for the Milwaukee and the Bucks game. If you're a Boston fan, you had an outstanding game. But yeah, man, this is going to be the end of the video. If you made it this far in the video, go and like the video. Go and subscribe if you're new. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I upload. And yeah, man, other than that, I'm out, bro.